Hey guys, so I just recorded this video and I wasn't sure where I paused and started, and I think I messed it up. So we're going to do this again, and we're going to be looking at your notes for today. They are already written on. I apologize because I did just record this thinking it was working and it messed up. So I apologize for the writing that's going to be on the notes already ahead of time, but we're going to do this video again. Going to start off with your table of contents to make sure you have everything that you need and your notebook is looking exactly like mine. We are finishing up Unit 1, so we've done all of our transformations, translations, reflections, rotations, and dilations, and now we're going to look at triangle congruence and start off with the triangle sum theorems, which will be page 9 in your notebook. For today, I have attached the blank copies of the notes for you guys. So, flipping over to page 9, and again, you can pause this video at any time if you need to write things down or go slower or go back to hear something again. So for triangle sum theorem, we have two different theorems we can follow, the interior angle theorem and the exterior angle theorem. So the interior angle theorem tells us that the sum of the measure of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So angle A, B, and C all together will add up to give you 180 degrees on the inside of a triangle. And now the reason that I remember this and that it makes sense to me is that if I were to open this triangle up at angle A and spin these two sides out and lay them flat, this would be a straight line. You can open every triangle up and it's just one long straight line. And if you put a straight line through the middle of a circle, which is 360 degrees, you'll notice that the area above that straight line is 180. It's half of that. So if you lay a triangle out flat, the area or the angle from one end of the line to the other end is 180 degrees. It's half of a circle. So this visual helps me understand why that is so. And you can take this and fold it up and make a triangle again. So inside of a triangle, no matter how large or small the triangle is, will always be 180 degrees. So that's your interior angle theorem. And the exterior angle theorem tells you that the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the two non-adjacent interior angles, meaning this exterior angle here, 1, is equal to the sum of 2 and 3. So whatever these two angles are, that is how large this angle is. Because again, if the sum of these interior angles is 180, this plus this plus this is 180, then what we also know is that this singular angle right here, this one plus that exterior angle will also be 180. And it shows us this right here. Angle 1 and angle 4 form a linear pair, therefore the sum is 180. So right here we have a straight line. So this plus this has to equal 180 because we just talked about it up here. So if you were to take this away, whatever this is, plus all of that is 180. And then same thing in the inside of the triangle. Whatever this is, plus both of these is 180, meaning all of this and both of these have to be the same to equal 180 if you add 4 to it. So you have two exterior angle rules that you can follow. These two adjacent angles, the exterior and the one inside that's right next to it, add up to be 180 if you happen to know that one. But also if that one's missing, the two non-adjacent interior angles will also add up to give you what that angle is. So right down here I wrote the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 3. So for example, let's say that this angle 4 right here, let's say it's 80 degrees. If angle 4 is 80 degrees and this plus this have to equal 180, then that means this whole angle out here is 100 degrees. 100 plus 80 is 180. But if we take 4 away, if we take that angle away and we hide it, and we know that this is an 80-degree angle, and we need the inside of the triangle to equal 180 degrees, and we took that 80 away, what's left is 100 degrees that gets split between these two. So these two must be 50-degree angles with this 80-degree angle to equal 180 in the inside, right? So if these are both 50, that equals 100. So these two are 100, and this one is also 100. So the rule will always work that these two, when you add them together, will be the same as this one, because all three of these have to equal 180, and these two also have to equal 180. So that's really helpful to remember. And then at the bottom here are 6 problems. So you're going to have a worksheet to do today, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But I wanted to do a few of these with you and then leave some for you to work on your own along with the worksheet for today. So the first 2, as you can see, I had already started them, but we'll go back over them. So you have one interior angle missing, but you know the other 2. So if we follow the rule that the interior angles equals 180 degrees, we can figure this out. So I added these 2 up. 86 and 43 give me 129 degrees. Well, if it's supposed to be 180, I take the 129 away from that, and I'm left with 51 degrees. And I was borrowing up here, so you can see that I borrowed from the 8, turned it into a 7, and made that 0 a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 1 is nothing. So what we're left with is 51 degrees that we're missing. So that must be what this angle is. Another way that you can do it is, like we can do 2 this way, we can take the 180 degrees that we know is inside this triangle and subtract the angles away that we have. So subtract away the 60 and then subtract away the 59 as well. So I'm going to borrow again. It's hard to see that, but that's now an 11. And then 11 minus 5 is 6. Just manually doing this. You can also just use your calculator. So 61 degrees is what's left. If we take 180 degrees, which is in our triangle, and we take 60 degrees away, we're left with 120. Then we take 59 degrees away, and we're left with 61, meaning 61 degrees is what's left over for this angle to have. And you guys can do this last one however you want. You can either add these up and then subtract it from 180, or you can take them both away from 180 to get that missing angle. And then again, down here on this bottom, we're using the exterior angle theorem, which means these 2 angles is the sum of this exterior angle. So if we had known this angle right here, we could just say, oh, 180 minus this is what this is right here left over. But we don't have that angle, so we can't do this theorem. It's not going to work. So we're going to have to do this one. So 80 plus 59, let's add them together. That is the sum of our exterior angle. So, and then you guys are going to do this last one by yourself. So again, I added these 2 together, and that gave me the sum of this exterior angle. So I'm going to leave those last 2 for you to work on by yourself. Again, these are fairly easy right here. And then your worksheet for today. It says, what do you call a bunny with the sniffles? And so you have angles up here and letters. And these letters get put down at the bottom of your page in specific areas, and it'll tell you the answer. So, and I'll show you how to fill those out. So these are a little bit more difficult, and I'm going to do the first 2 with you, just so you're not super lost. I'll do them in pencil. All right, so we learned that 2 angles side by side that make a straight line are going to equal 180 degrees. We know that. And the other thing that we know is that the interior angles add up to 180. Well, I only have one interior angle. I'm missing angle 1 and angle 2. So I can't figure out what this is by adding these 2 up and subtracting it from 180 because I don't even know what this one is. So I'm going to start with what I do know. I do know that these 2 side by side that make a straight line have to add up to 180. So if I do 180 and I take 23 away, I can figure out what angle 1 is, and that'll help me with trying to figure out what angle 2 is. And so we're going to borrow from 8, make that a 7, and turn this into a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5, and bring down the 1. Okay, so angle 1 is 157 degrees. I'm going to write that right here. Now I know. Well, now that I know that this is 157 and this is 11, I can figure out angle 2 because the interior angle should also add up to 180. So if I have 157 and I add 11 to it, I'm going to write 157 right here. 157 plus 11 is 168. Well, if I have 168 degrees that I know is inside of this triangle, the leftover is going to go to angle 2. So now I'm going to do 180 minus 168. And you'll get 12. So that means angle 2 is 12 degrees. And then the last thing that it asks for is angle 3, which is over here. So I'm just going to use my calculator to make it quick. 87 plus 23 is 110, and then 180 minus 110 is 70 degrees. So now that we know all three of these missing angles, 157, 12, and 70, we take this is box number 1, and we look at the bolded angle, which is the measure of angle 2 is 12. So the bolded angle is the one that's going to give you the letter. So for my first box, this is box number 1, I'm going to find 12 degrees, which is right here, which is B. And I only care about this middle angle when it comes to giving me the letter. Okay, just the one that's bolded. So since I know it's B, or 12 degrees, I'm going to go down here, and everywhere that I see a number 1, because that was problem number 1, I'm going to put a B. And I only see 1. So now we're going to move on to problem number 2, or the second box. And we're going to solve for all these missing angles, and then we're going to look at the bolded angle here, and that's going to tell us which letter we use. Now, one quick thing I want to tell you guys, you're going to learn about this tomorrow, but angles that are opposite from each other are the exact same degrees. They are identical because those lines are cutting in the same angles. So if the top angle is really skinny, the bottom one will be. If the top angle is really wide, the bottom one will be as well. So if they're sitting across from each other like this, we already know. Okay, so angle 1 is 51 degrees because it's across from a 51 degree angle. So those are super easy. Angle 2 right up here, well, in this big triangle, I know this angle and this angle, but I'm missing that one. So if I add 63 and 40 together, I get 103. And then 180 minus 103 is 77 degrees. So, figure that out. And then angle 3 is this last one. So I need to figure out what this angle is. Well, if I know that this angle 1 is 51 and this angle is 40, I can figure out this missing angle. And that will help me with this triangle right here, this big triangle. So I have, in this tiny little triangle, I have 51 and 40, which is 91. So then let's do 180 and subtract 91 away. And that'll give me 89 for this angle. And then the last thing, so we just figured out this tiny little angle in this little triangle. But now I know that since this is 89, I have this corner, I need to figure out this one. So we have 89 plus 53 is 142. So what's left over goes to angle 3. So we're going to do 180 minus 142. Which is 38 degrees. So I'm now going to take the bolded angle, which is 77, and come up here and look for 77. And I see that 77 is R. So for the second problem, the answer is R. So I'm going to come down here, and everywhere that I see a 2, I'm going to put an R. I only see 1. And you'll keep going, and you'll do the whole problem, and you should get the right answer at the bottom. But let me clarify this. I do not want to see just numbers right here and just an answer at the bottom. You must show your work like this. I need to know that you're doing work. I need to see that, or else I'm not going to give you full credit. So make sure you get your notes done for today and you work on the assignment for today as well.